Welcome. It's time to find the perfect house in Irving, Texas. So if you've been thinking about moving to Irving or simply curious about what Irving has to offer, this is the video for you. We're going to go into where Irving is, and we're going to ask ourselves the 3 questions that we ask ourselves whenever we're searching for a new home. So we're going to go into the 3 questions, those 3 C's that are very pivotal and important. Then we're going to go into analysis mode. We're going to look at an actual property that we're going to mock buy. Essentially, we're going to go through the motions of analyzing the property from the pictures, things to consider as you're looking and touring through a property, along with the details that each of the properties have. Well, in this particular case, just one. Then we're going to get into the loan options. We're going to go through 3 different loan scenarios, so you have options on the purchase. This way you get 3 different mortgage amounts that you might feel a little bit, so you have an option on which one you're going to end up going with. So again, we're going to go from understanding more about Irving so we can find that ideal house. We're going to look at the ideal house, and then we're going to go through the purchase of it, so you see some numbers behind it of what it would actually cost you to purchase that home. That being said, let's get into it. Let's explore Irving a little bit closer. So just like any other home purchase or your home journey, we're going to start off in the online portal. In this particular case, we're going to JaimeResendiz.exprealty.com, which is directly tied into the MLS. Now, if you feel more comfortable with Zillow, with Trulia.com, with Realtor.com, or what have you, that's okay. Use whatever interface you feel the most comfortable with, but the journey is going to start off pretty much in the same place, searching for properties. So let's check out the homes available for sale right now in Irving to give us an understanding of what we're looking at. All right, so here right out of the gate, we see that Irving has 414 properties available for sale at an average point of $553. So $553,000 is the average price point. Now, this includes every type of property out there, so we're going to exclude all the other type of property that we're not really interested at the moment, and we're going to leave single-family residence. And let's X out of this real quick because I don't think I typed it in correctly. Here we go. So we're going to only look at single-family residences, and we're going to hit search. Now, as mentioned a couple of seconds ago, whenever we're looking for a new location, whenever we're searching for a new home, really need to be comfortable with the area that we're purchasing in. And the best way to do that is to answer these 3 questions. What does my commute need to look like? What does my community need to be? And then also, what's the cost? What's the budget? So those are 3 C's that we ask ourselves. So 3 questions. What's the commute? So essentially, when you're moving into an area, oftentimes you make the decision more based off of how close it is to work. So if you work in downtown Dallas as an example, well, chances are you're going to want to live in or around Dallas to where the commute is not a big deal or as big of a deal as it could be. So you don't want to necessarily live in Denton, although a ton of people do live in Denton and commute all the way to Dallas, which I can personally attest to that taking a very long time, as I used to live up here in Denton and I used to work in Denton as well. But there's many times where I'd have to take meetings in downtown Dallas, and that was a beating. With that being said, again, commute is something that we need to address right out of the gate whenever we're looking for a home, a new area to live in. Now, the second thing that we need to address is, what type of community do I want? What type of lifestyle am I trying to create for myself? Am I the person that likes to be outside all of the time? So there I might need some more hiking. I might need some more of a slow down pace and not be in downtown Dallas if I wanted to do that. Well, I mean, for the fast pace, yes. For the slow pace, not necessarily. Now, also, if you're more of a lake person, then you probably need to be closer to a lake. This is different considerations depending on the community that you're looking for. Again, if you're the restaurant type of person that needs to go out to a different restaurant every evening, then it's a certain type of city that you would be looking for. Now, the third thing is the cost. Can you afford it? What's the budget of the area that you're looking for? So those are the 3 C's that you need to answer for yourself before you go into any community with confidence. And it's going to really save you so much time, save you so much stress, so much heartache whenever you're going and searching for a home. So with that being said, let's look at the properties available for sale right now in Irving. So the least expensive home right now in Irving is $199,000. Essentially, it's $200,000. As you can see, this is what we call more of an investor special, where you would be purchasing this property more to rehab it than to live in it yourself right out of the gate. And the majority of the homes, especially here in Irving, that are among this price point of less than $250,000, you're looking more at an investment style property where these are sold more as is. They might be a little bit neglected. They might not necessarily have the most attention, most care for them. So they have a lot of potential as fixer-uppers, as rehabs, as flips, as investor specials, whatever you want to call them. That's what these earlier priced homes are going to be more susceptible to. So again, under the $300,000 mark, you are looking at opportunities for investment, so you can really get in there, fix them up, and then take them back out onto the market, depending on what the market is dictating. Which here in Irving, for the if you take some of these properties here that are the least expensive homes for sale right now, you could probably take them back out onto the market into the 280s, 325s. That's probably where you're going to see the first rehabs hit the market after they've been taken care of. So as you can see here, this is a rehab. So this is a good example of a home that was purchased and then rehabbed back out onto the market. This one also gives me a vibe of a rehab. This one gives me a vibe of a rehab. And let's see what else we got out here. This one for sure is a rehab. So again, it gives you a different, it just gives you an idea of where the rehab properties tend to kind of hit the market. So this would be the high end when you're looking at the lowest priced properties in an area. In this particular case, Irving, this would be the high end of where you could expect the resales for those rehabs. This again, the smaller priced homes, obviously with the bigger homes and that have more space on them, that are a little bit more aggressively priced up here in the 300s or upper 300s, those you could probably rehab into the 400s, 450s or so. All right, so let's check out a few more homes here because you're still in the 300,000s right now. This is a rehabbed home, by the way. This is another rehabbed home. So you see a lot of rehabbed homes starting to hit the market in the early 350s or in the early 300,000s. There's a ton of opportunity for homes under $400,000. As you can already see, some of them have already been rehabbed. They've already been flipped and updated for owner occupancy right out of the gate. Now, of course, you're also going to find homes that have not gone through that process, which is completely okay. These are primarily owner-occupied properties that might have had a little bit of update, might not have had a little bit of updating, but these are homes that are ready to go for you to move in and maybe not require a ton of effort into doing some rehab repairs and things of the like. All right, so let's check out what the luxury looks like here in the Irving area, and then we can get into an analysis of a property from a home that we can run through several different loan types. So I'm just going to go through here and I'm going to look at this property very, very briefly just to get an idea of what luxury looks like here in Irving. So this is most likely Las Colinas, that let's see, off of TPC. Oh, I know exactly where this is. Cool. All right, so let's check out this property very, very, very quickly and then get into a home that we're going to go through and run some numbers on. All right, so this is again offered at 2.5 million. Very modern. I do like this type of counter. It looks really cool. Now, I'm not going to spend a ton of time here analyzing this luxury one. I just kind of want to see what the luxury looks like in each city before. Check out that shower. Before we go into a property that we are going to break down picture by picture and line by line to get an understanding of what that home can offer you. Wow, look at that view. That's like 4 heads in here. Like, look at how many showers you got, or shower heads. What a backyard. Look at that. Great view. And of course the pool. So here you're kind of in the middle of the fairway, so watch out. It looks like the hole goes that way because I see some bunkers over here. So you're going to need to watch out for those right-handed golfers that tend to slice, because this is prime area. Especially this is the landing zone, so I'm gonna guess it's a par 4. You didn't subscribe to this video to get some golf lessons here, but golf is my first passion, so I can speak that all day long. So watch out, you're in the middle of the landing zone. This does look like a par 4. This is not a par 3 from what I can see. So you're gonna have a lot of drivers that are gonna hit your hit your pool. If you have some wicked slicers that are positioning themselves for that second shot into the green. What a cool backyard. Look at that. Yep. Oh. Actually, no. Wait. No, yeah, I was right. So you have the tee box over here. You have some sand trap over here. So it's probably, what, 280 or so to the landing area here. No, it's probably 280 right here, 280. So you're going to have a lot of slices. So the one that would get the most hits, the most bang for your buck, especially if you're slicing that aggressively, is going to be this red house right here. So you're kind of defended by your neighbor, but not really. These trees are going to be the bulk of your blocking. So that's going to be good that you actually have those. So awesome. Actually, I've played this course. What am I even talking about? I don't remember what I did on this hole. Awesome. Alrighty. That is enough. That is enough for that. Let's get to work. Let's go into a property over here. Let's go into a property that we're going to break down and we're going to purchase. So let's see. Well, we can do more of the modern architecture over here. We can go down more of the traditional architecture over here. And this is completely unique. That is a unique looking home. This is also a unique looking home. Let's find a... Let's go with this one. This will be fine. Let's check out these details. And again, what we're going to do now is we're going to go picture by picture, line by line, to get an idea of the type of home that we're looking at. We're really simulating what the home purchase would look like, given that oftentimes whenever we're looking for homes, we're more looking at the pictures above all else. And once we find a home that we at least aesthetically like, then we start getting into the numbers and start getting into the details. So that's how we're going to play this particular home, to get an idea if we ultimately want to purchase it. And then we're going to start going into the numbers to give you an idea of what the mortgage payment is going to look like, property taxes and everything in between. That will really help you when you're looking to purchase a home in Irving. So want to give the complete, I guess, simulation of what the purchase could look like. All right. So we're going to purchase this home. We're going to pretend to purchase this home, and we're going to get into some details. Now, two quick disclaimers. When we're looking at homes, the way that we break these properties down. So two quick disclaimers. Number one, the small things tend to say a lot about the larger things. So essentially, there's going to be some things here that I call out that might sound a little bit nitpicky, might sound a little bit, well, that's just so minor. Why would you even comment on that? It's not because I'm a hater. It's not because I'm just trying to be critical of the property altogether. It's just that the small things typically lead into the bigger things. So as an example, if we find that, let's say the landscaping is pretty bad, not very well taken care of, so the outside is not very taken care of, well, that says a lot of what potentially was updated or not updated, or taken care of or not taken care of in the inside of the house, like the HVAC units, the maybe the foundation, the roof, the water heaters, appliances. So again, the small things can lend themselves to telling you a lot about the larger things, the big things. The second thing, as we go through these properties and we go picture by picture, is when you're searching for a home and when you're buying a home, oftentimes when you go to a showing, you're going to spend 30 to 45 minutes at that home before you're going to make your decision if you're going to put in an offer, right? Oftentimes, especially in hot real estate markets, you do not have a ton of time to really assess and think through if you're going to move forward with the purchase before you try to get under contract and then let the inspection report do the talking, right? So you don't have as much time. So that's why I like to point out a few things here, the same way that I would point out the similar things to our clients that we do showings with. I do this breakdown with them as we're going through the property to really help them make better real estate decisions or more informed real estate decisions of some things that I've picked up over the years. So that's why, again, as we go through these breakdowns, it's not because I'm trying to be overly critical or just be a jerk about the particular home. The complete opposite. I'm trying to be respectful of the homeowners, trying to be respectful of our clients, but more importantly, my fiduciary duty lies with my clients. So I would much rather call some things out that I myself would have an issue with as opposed to just keeping it to myself. All right, so let's keep going. All right, so from the outset, I see here that this green looks a little bit too green for me. So I don't know if there's some AI magic in here because it's just with this heat, and I don't necessarily see a ton of, the green looks a little bit Photoshoppy to me. There's just too much green here and not enough dead grass for my taste. Just throwing that out there. Now this is brick, this is painted brick. This white brick is not a recently painted brick. I can already see that this is has a few years under its belt. So at some point it was either rehabbed or something happened here that the owners painted the brick outside, but this is not the primary owners that did this or the current owners that did this. I do like the fact that it is a corner lot. This is a massive corner lot. Let's see. We're looking at a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,000 square foot, half an acre, and it was built 1968. So this home has, what's that? 32 plus 24, that's 56 years. So you have, with a home of this age, 50 plus years, you're looking at it having had a good amount of sorry, are you seeing this? Are you seeing the outside here? Like, that does not match this. Yeah, so yeah, this green this green is fake. This grass is fake. Not off to a good start. All right, let's keep going. All right, so this is still the front of the house. So they cut down the trees. Okay. Now this is straight cut the trees. I don't think that these trees are gonna really grow back into anything meaningful. This is beyond pruning. I would have just cut these all together and removed the stumps and just called it good. All right. Okay. I do like the driveway. I'm a sucker for this driveway. It's just, you can fit so many cars. You can get in and out of your house a lot quicker. Those are pretty cool. Something else to note is that this has gutters all throughout the house. So all around the house, which is a pretty long house. It's a pretty large house. And to have 3,000 square feet on one single floor, you do need a larger lot. So the fact that this is on half an acre makes a ton of sense. Now again, this was built in 1968, so this means that it's probably run through several HVAC units. It just depends on which cycle you might be purchasing it. They might have just recently replaced the HVAC units, or it might have a few years under its belt. So at this point, you could be working on the second, third, fourth HVAC unit, given the age of the home. Now it's going to be probably on the third HVAC unit or so. Now, okay, so this has been updated. I just don't necessarily know when. I do see some wear and tear on the walls. So this was owned. This probably, what I'm gathering here is that this was rehabbed at one point, and the present homeowner lived in it for a while and has long moved. This is not a super recent updated home. This just does not give me that vibe. But has it been updated? It has. I just don't believe that the present owner was the one that did it. All right, so I do like the flooring. You have the updated kitchen, stainless steel appliances, granite countertops. Whenever the updates were made, it looks like the cabinets were either rehandled. Yeah, these are newer. They're not original. These long houses, I like these long houses. They just have so much room. They have room for days. The challenge whenever you're selling these, just kind of a little behind the scenes, the challenge is that it's hard to visualize what you're going to do with such a large space. Like as an example over here, oftentimes whenever we get into these types of homes, especially when you get into the 80s, 70s, 60s, and these types of homes, when we're listing them, we do our best to put some furniture in here to give our minds a little bit of help, especially from the buyer side, on what they could do with this space. Because right now it's just so open right now. It's hard for us to visualize as buyers, as people that are buying the property, what could it look like. So that's why we have professional stagers that will come in and provide some furniture and giving you ideas as a buyer on what you could do with the space. Because our mind, not everybody works in that not everybody is able to visualize what they could do with the space. I myself am not. That's why we have professional stagers that help us out to get this property up to speed. Now again, this is a good looking property. It's just that's kind of a little bit behind the scenes of what we do. Updated. Now this does look a little bit more recently updated. This is the primary, I believe. Now given this home was built in the 60s, you're usually going to see a large living space with not as large of a closet as you might be accustomed to if you're looking for homes that are built in the early 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. You're not going to see as big of a closet, and you're also not going to see as big of a restroom. That's more of a last 20 years type of a deal, certainly not in the 1968 whenever this was built. The space, like the living space, you will see a little bit on the larger side, but it's not as open as you're used to seeing it, especially if you've been looking at new property. All right, so the bedroom 2, bedroom 3. So this is a primary bath. And I think it's the same bath that we just saw. All right, so you have, okay, I'm just trying to visualize this. So you have the little driveway up there, and then you have a rear entry garage, 2-car garage back here. One of the knocks on this property, again, just I'm not trying to be overly critical, just give you some different perspectives. So as with these types of homes, if you value privacy, it'll be a little bit challenging given that this corner lot does not have anything over here, right? So something that in the future you might consider, you as a buyer, you might consider adding a fence. The fact that they haven't added a fence this late in the game, meaning it's been on here for 1968, there could be some reason why the fence has not been added here. It could be a zoning thing. It could be an easement thing. Something might be happening there that a fence has not been added, or it could be that there hasn't been as many primary homeowner occupants that have owned this home to where they've wanted to make the investment of adding that fence. So again, the privacy thing is a comment that I can guarantee you is being made on this property right now, just knowing what I know from the feedback that I get with these types of corner lots, especially in the Irving area. All right, so overall, I like it. We're gonna buy this house for $529. Let's see what other information we can gather before we hop into making the numbers work for us. Welcome to your dream home. This beautifully remodeled gem sits on a corner half-acre lot, which in Irving is very, very, very hard to find. Surrounded by gorgeous mature trees that provide a peaceful oasis. Inside, you'll find 5 spacious bedrooms, including 2 primary suites for ultimate comfort. Oh, okay, 2 primary suites. The Jack and Jill bathroom is perfect for the 2 secondary bedrooms, making a great step up for families. With 2 dining areas, you can easily host intimate family dinners or larger gatherings with friends. The elegant roundabout driveway not only adds a touch of class, but also makes parking a breeze. Okay, touch of class, fair. Okay. Located with easy access to major highways, commuting is simple and stress-free. The home perfectly blends modern convenience with serene, natural beauty. Don't miss out on making this your forever home. Okay, let's get into some details and let's start working the math. County, Dallas County, since we're in Irving, makes sense. Year built 1968. So again, if this home is what, 56 years old. We're gonna need to look at the HVAC units, how long they've been, how recently they were replaced, because at this point you're not working with the original ones. You're not even working probably with the second generation HVACs that were made. You're probably working on the third HVAC or so. Taxes. Do not get married to this number. This number does not exist in your mind. This property tax number is one that was more for the homeowners that lived in this home or that live in this home with the assessed value that they have. And I can tell you that this amount right now, they have some unique exemptions that you might not have access to. So this is something, just gonna call it right now. Although it's helpful to see this information, just to see it, it's not going to be helpful for you to make some budget decisions around it, because you're not going to be paying this amount of taxes. I can guarantee you're paying more. The assessed value is going to be different. Your home exemptions are going to be different. So just trust me on that. We're going to go through the calculation so you can get a better estimate of what property taxes are going to be for you. Price $529. That's what we're going to use for our analysis today. 5 bedrooms, 4 full baths. I like that. 3,000 square feet. I like that as well, especially on a single floor plan, which is a single story, which is incredibly hard to do. So again, we talked about it earlier that the lot size needed to be large, and it is, in order to accommodate that amount of square footage. All right, so the rest of the information is pretty standard. Electric, so that means there's no gas here, which is interesting. I would have thought this one would have had gas. Okay, utilities, possession, roof, appliances. Oh, gas range. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Gas range, easements, utilities. So essentially the electricity poles that you saw out there. It's pretty normal. School district, Irving ISD for sure, built 1968. Architectural style, which again is misspelled. I just found that out or noticed it yesterday in yesterday's live stream. And there shouldn't be an HOA here, so I don't think that I'm gonna see that. HOA type is none. Yeah, there shouldn't be an HOA in this part of Irving, so we're in a good spot. Awesome. Well, I have all the information that I need. Let's do some math. Let's get into some numbers real quick. Now, this is our Loan Clarity Advisor tool. This is a tool that we use with all of our discovery calls with our clients. Now, this tool was created by Win the House You Love creator Kyle Seagraves. So go and check out his YouTube channel, or if you want this calculator, check out the link down below. This Loan Clarity Advisor tool is linked down below, and also you can just go to winthehouseyoulove.com and get this tool yourself, so you can make the same breakdown that I'm about to make. All right, so let's look at the scenario. We need to calculate our property taxes, our home insurance, and our HOA amount, which there's going to be none here. Now, if you're newer to this breakdown and maybe don't have the confidence to make the breakdown on your own, no worries. Just go down the estimates route and hit Texas, and then move this little slider here based off of the numbers that I share with you here shortly. That's all you're going to have to do. For our purposes today, we're going to be more exact because we want to really educate on what property taxes are going to look like down to the penny, and then also the homeowner's insurance also down to the penny as well. So with that being said, let's buy this house in Irving, and we're going to offer $529,000. $529 is what we're doing. That's our purchase price. Now, what we have to find out is what is our property tax going to be. So what are property taxes going to be with this particular property? So what does that mean? Well, we need to find the property tax rate for Irving in order to multiply it times the value of the home. Now, we'll talk about assessed value versus market value here very shortly. Let's talk about property taxes first. Whenever you buy a property, you're paying property taxes. That's observation number one. Observation number two is that Texas has relatively high property taxes. It just does. So just have that in the back of your mind because you're going to be paying property taxes. Texas, in fact, has the 6th highest property tax rate in the country, with New Jersey being number 1. The third thing to note is that with property taxes here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, you're looking for up to 5 numbers that you're going to add together to get your property tax rate. So I'll say it again. Here in Dallas-Fort Worth, you're going to look for up to 5 numbers that you're going to add together to get your property tax rate. That includes your city tax rate, your county tax rate, and your ISD tax rate. These 3 numbers are going to be every single city that you look at in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, whether that's Coppell, whether that's Irving, whether that's Dallas, whether that's Grand Prairie, whether that's Arlington, Fort Worth, Denton, Allen, Frisco, Plano, McKinney. We can go on and on. Any city, you're gonna have to find those 3 numbers, guaranteed. City, county, ISD. Those 3 numbers you're gonna have to find for each of these cities. The other 2 numbers, those depend on the city that you're purchasing in. So here is going to be the other 2 are going to be the higher education tax. So think of community college, or the hospital network tax. So think of, if you're in Dallas, think of Parkland. If you're in Fort Worth, think of JPS. So those are 2 numbers that could present themselves depending on the city that we're buying in. So that's why we have to go and do some investigative work real quick and go to Irving, Texas property tax rate. I'm just straight Googling the same thing that you would have access to. That's what we're doing. Now, once you do that, you're going to try to find that information off of the city website. Some cities are going to give it all the information that you need in one place. Some cities are going to do a terrible job and not going to give you anything. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality. So you're going to go straight to the website first, the city website first. Then you're going to go to the county website. And if you're not able to figure it out based off of those 2, last recourse is go to third-party websites like Smart Asset, what is this? Texas Home Rebate. Just these third-party websites that tend to be inaccurate, but it's the best thing that we got. So first, we got to get to the website, the city website first. And see if this will give us the information that we need. All right, well, I had high hopes for this because it gave us a number. Here we go, taxes. Here we go. Perfect. All right, so congratulations, Irving. You get an A. I'm not going to give you an A+ because I had to click over here. If you had just made it the first slide, I would have said, all right, A+, Irving, because you gave all the information we needed in one place. So an A is an A, you still pass. All right, so here's the numbers that I was alluding to earlier. Remember, city, county, ISD, and then potentially higher education and hospital network. In this particular case, you have all 5. So here you have the city tax rate, the county tax rate, the ISD tax rate, which is always going to be the highest out of the potential 5. It's always going to be the highest in every city in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So the ISD has the highest tax rate across all the ISD portion, not Irving ISD, but the ISD property tax rate is going to be the highest among all Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex cities. The higher education one, so community college district, and then the Parkland Hospital, so the hospital network. So all in all, what I'm saying here is that our property taxes are going to be 2.4183%. That is a percentage for us. 2.4183%. That is our property tax rate for the city of Irving. That's a very important number to know because you're going to find that your neighbor, Coppell, has a 2.25%. So it's less. Now, the trade-off there is that Coppell generally is a little bit more expensive, right? So there's going to be different property tax rates throughout the DFW Metroplex, and I would encourage you to look this information up as you're looking through different properties in different cities so you know how much you would be paying in property taxes. Because again, as you own this home, from the time that you own it, you're paying property taxes on it. And the difference between a couple $1,000s every single month could be just one street away, right? So just not a month, a year, a couple $1,000s a year could be just one street away, right? So just giving you that as a heads up. So with that being said, we have our rate that we have, or that we need. Now what we're going to do is we're going to multiply it times the market value of the home. And I'm going to be very precise with language right now. The market value of the home. This is the market value of the home. This is what the market is saying that this property is worth once it gets bought at $529. By the way, I know it's still for sale, but we're assuming that this home is going to sell for $529 because we're going to buy it at that price. So we're saying that the market value is $529. We're going to multiply that 2.4%, whatever it was, times the market value of the home. Here's why. We're doing that because it's actually going to be, this calculation that you're going to see is actually going to be higher than what the actual property taxes are, because the property taxes are multiplied times the assessed value of the home. So the market value, most of the time, over 90% of the time, is higher, in some cases much higher, than the assessed value of the home. Right, so the assessed value is going to be a certain percentage of the market value, or what the county appraisal district deems it to be. So let's call it, let's say 85% of the market value is what the assessed value starts out at, or becomes. Right, so whenever you purchase a home, you purchase it for $529, the market value. The assessed value on this property might be $485, might be $499. It would be less, right? So the assessed value. So you're paying that 2.4% on the assessed value. Once you purchase it, once you purchase that property, you can add exemptions to it. And what that means is these exemptions are going to reduce the assessed value of your home, so you're paying less in property taxes. That has nothing to do with your market value. This is one of the comments that we got overnight that I just responded to earlier this morning to provide that clarity on. So the assessed value, your goal when you're a homeowner is to reduce the assessed value as much as possible. And you can do that through exemptions. The homestead exemption is available to everybody that's going to own or occupy the property. If you're over 65, you have another exemption. If you're on disability, you have another exemption. There's other exemptions that you can do. And every single year you get to protest the property value of your home, or the property taxes of your home, which essentially means you're trying to reduce the assessed value as much as possible. You're going to the county and saying, I know you think my house is worth $1 million, but it's not. Let's reduce it. Anyway, with that being said, I think I beat that one to death already. So we're going to multiply this percentage that we just found for the property tax rate for Irving. We're going to go with 0.024183. That's the percentage. We're going to multiply that times the market value. Again, I fully acknowledge this is the market value, which is going to give us a more inflated property tax number. I recognize that. Which means that our property taxes on this property, don't freak out on me. I preface this like, don't freak out. Do not freak out. Is $12,792. Here's, again, just don't hit the dislike button quite yet. Know that this, remember when I said, hey, don't get married to the number that they gave us? I meant it. What they're paying in property taxes is radically different than what you're going to be paying. Now, you're not going to be paying $12,792, so just, you're okay there. You're not going to be paying this amount, but you're certainly not going to be paying $5,308. So most likely, if you do not have a ton of exemptions, most likely, realistically, you're going to be paying probably $10,000 to $11,000 in property taxes. Now, when there's such a wide gap, whenever we do these live streams, I want to show you some additional information. I don't always do this, but when there's such a wide gap, I kind of feel like I owe it to you to show you more of the back end. So I'm going to get a little bit technical. I'm going to get a little bit beyond the property taxes 101. We're going to go to the advanced class for a quick second, and then we're going to come right back. All right, so we're going to have a guest lecture for a second, and then we're going to come right back. So hopefully you appreciate this. If not, we're still doing it. Because when we have such a discrepancy, I just would much rather show you as much as possible. Let me see. All right, so what am I going to do? I'm going to go over to the Dallas CAD, and I want to show you what the assessed value of this property would be. Now, I'm not showing you on the screen right now because I do not want to dox these poor people, because YouTube would take this channel down, because this is going to give me the owner's information, and I don't really care to show that to you, nor does YouTube. So I want to keep this video up. I did put that right. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, how long have you owned this house? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Alrighty. Here we go. Okay, so the reason, there's several things to here. There's several things to this. But notice what the market value is doing for us right now. This market value. Let's assume that this is the market value. I just mentioned, I know it's still for sale, but let's assume this is a market value. Look at what it's being assessed as. 394, 394, 394. So all the taxes that we just talked about, the Irving, the ISD, the Dallas County, the higher education, the hospital network, they're saying that this property is worth 394. Now here's the reality. This home is, once it changes hands, it's not going to be assessed at this. So I can guarantee you, without, again, I'm not going to show this person's information. I can guarantee you that there's a significant amount of exemptions here. And the present homeowner did a phenomenal job of protesting property taxes to where they have a really favorable, like a very favorable property tax assessment through several different mechanisms. I mentioned protesting property taxes, homestead exemptions. There's capped values, like increase in values that can actually happen. So as an example, if you're a primary homeowner, there's a certain percentage that your home can actually be raised every single year. So here in the last several years, I can guarantee you that this one has been widely benefiting from that. So the actual market value versus, I'm trying to do some additional research over here in the back end, is radically different. Let me see if I can get some. I'm just trying to be mindful of their contact information, so I'm not going to show the rest. Yeah, this pretty much backs up everything that I was talking about. Okay, we're gonna keep going. All right, back to class, back to normal. So again, just wanted to show you the discrepancy there. So where we were using the market value, which assuming this is the market value, versus the assessed value. So here, don't freak out because of the high number that we added, but also know that $5,000 or whatever it was for your property taxes that the present homeowner was paying, you're not going to touch that. You're not going to get even anywhere close to that. Just the reality of the situation. I could possibly see you paying $9,000 to $10,000, but I do not see you ever paying $5,000 in property taxes. That's just not going to happen on this home. Anyway, so we're going to use a conservative number again, and we're going to divide that by 12, and we're going to go back to our exercise. So we're going to say that our property taxes is going to be $1,066. Monthly insurance premiums, this one's a little bit easier. We're going to put 0.75% times the market value of our home. That's going to give us a general feeling for what the premium is going to be per year on the home insurance. So we're going to go 0.0075. So again, 0.75%, which translates, if we're going to do the calculation, 0.0075 times the purchase price. Okay, 520. I messed that up. 0.0075, 52900. Our yearly premium in home insurance is going to be about $4,000 bucks. So we're going to divide that by 12. And we're going to put 331 as our monthly premium. HOAs, there's no HOA here, so we don't need to worry about that. All right, so we're also going to be using 3 different financing options for us. We're going to go with a conventional 5%, FHA 5%, and then conventional 5%. I'm sorry, 20%. We're going to give ourselves 3 different loan types so you get to see the difference between the cost of these loans. Now, whenever you purchase a home, if you do not purchase it in cash, that means that you're going to get a loan. That loan becomes what's called a mortgage. So that there's various types of loan products out there for you to choose from as you're buying a home. You can go conventional, FHA, USDA, VA, jumbo loan. Like there's so many different portfolio loans. There's so many different types of loans, but primarily the most common ones are going to be conventional loans and FHA loans. Now, you have the option of how much down you're going to put, but there are minimums. With a conventional loan, the minimum down payment is going to be 3%. With an FHA loan, the minimum down payment is 3.5%. Those are minimum down payments. For our purposes today, we're going to use 5%. Now, why do we use 5%? Because our clients primarily use 5% as their down payment, just so they're not borrowing as much and are getting a little bit more favorable interest rates. So again, 5% is going to be on this option or this scenario. This scenario is going to be 5% for an FHA. And this one, we're going to go back to the well of conventional, but this time we're going to do 20%. Why? Well, when you put less than 20% down, you're paying more. You're paying what's called mortgage insurance. And mortgage insurance is an insurance that the lender puts out on you in the event that you default. So in the event that you default, they take their home back, but they also get some insurance from you, or they get insurance on you that's going to pay them to make them whole because they took on as much liability with you because you didn't put 20% down. At least that's what they say. That's what they claim. For you, just think about it this way. If I don't put 20% down, I'm paying more every single month in what's called mortgage insurance. Now, if you get a conventional loan, as you continue making payments on the loan, eventually you start owning more and more of that home. Now, once you own more than 20% of that home on a conventional loan, the mortgage insurance goes away. So on paper, in about year 10, your mortgage insurance goes away without factoring in the appreciation of the home. With an FHA loan, the same FHA loan, the same 5%, but this time with an FHA loan, as you continue making payments on that loan, you never get rid of mortgage insurance. It's going to be there until you either pay off that loan completely, you sell that house, or you refinance the loan into something else. So mortgage insurance does not go away with an FHA product. Those are the distinctions. All right, so conventional 5%, FHA 5%, conventional 20%. We're going to go into the loan term of 30 years across the board. And now we have to find what the mortgage interest rate is right now. So the best way to do that is go back to Google and put what is the interest rate right now. Go over to bank rate, which is going to give you the most current up-to-date information. So here, as of the time of this recording, the mortgage right now is 6.56. So let's go here. And we're going to say the interest rate right now is 6.56. 6.56. All right. Now, depending on when you're watching this video, of course, this is going to be different. So if you're watching this a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, go to bankrate.com and find what the mortgage interest rate is, or just Google it and go again. Bankrate's my preferred one right now. Find what the average right now is being offered. You might be able to get something a little bit better. You might get something a little bit worse. Depends on your financial situation. All right, so let's talk about points. Let's talk about what that means. Well, points is essentially you buying down the interest rate. That's what points are. Another way of saying it is you're essentially prepaying interest is what you're doing when you buy points. But a story for another day. With points, When you buy 1 point, don't think that you are reducing your interest rate by an entire point, by an entire percentage point. That's not, I wish that was the case, but it's not. When you buy 1 point, the math that I do is very rough, but when I buy 1 point, roughly I'm buying a fourth of a percentage point. So this would be bought down to like 6.28% or something like that. So it's not a full percentage point. It's just you're buying down. The math again that I use is a fourth of a point, a percentage. Sorry. So that is what buying down points are. Now, how much does a point cost? A point generally costs 1% of the loan amount. So here, if you borrowed $500,000, it'd be $5,000 for you to buy down that 1 point. And you can buy multiple points, but at some point, I'm using the word point a lot. At some point, it's not going to make sense to buy points because it's just so expensive. So again, with points, you're buying down the interest rate. And another way of saying it is essentially you're essentially prepaying interest is what you're doing. We're not going to touch points right now. We're also not going to touch lender fees at the moment, even though you can. Lender fees are going to vary from 1% to 2% depending on the loan. But what I want you to do whenever you get this tool, which is linked down below, or you can just go to winthehouseyoulove.com. And once you get this, compare your loans. Compare your loan from Allied, or your quotes from Allied First Bank, from Wells Fargo, from Chase, from Rocket Mortgage, wherever it is that you're getting your loan from. Put in their numbers, their estimate, and then put in their fees so you have an exact apples to apples comparison and get to see which loan's actually going to cost you less depending on the lender that's letting you borrow that money. That's what I would recommend there. Monthly mortgage insurance. We talked about this earlier. If you don't put 20% down in the purchase of your home, here with the conventional loan scenario that we're doing with 5% and the FHA 5%, that's the case. So we're going to be paying monthly mortgage insurance, and we're going to go into that shortly. If you plan to make extra payments, you can also model that here in this tool. You can put how much more you're going to be paying towards principal, or if you want to do a lump sum, it also does that for you. That way you get to see how much faster you pay down the loan, and also how much less or how much more you save or how much less you have to pay is what you have access to here with the extra payments. Overall, here when you're looking at the loan cost breakdown, after 10 years with this conventional 20% down, you're going to see that the loan cost, essentially the interest that you paid on this loan so far, is going to be $259,000 in those 10 years. With an FHA loan, it would have cost you $345,000. With a conventional 5%, it would have cost you $336,000. So you see that this conventional 20% down saves you $86,000 when you compare it to the FHA loan, and $76,000 when you compare it to the conventional 5%. Right? Now, it's not lost on me that if you're going to save money, that's awesome. That's great. However, I recognize that 20% down is a heck of a lot of money. It's obviously 4 times more than this. And we may not be in that position to put 20% down, but that's okay. Recognize that this is an option if you have it. If you don't have that option, then forget about it. You have the option to purchase a home right now in the event that you do 5% or as little as 3.5% with an FHA, or 3% with a conventional. This is just more to model if you are at a position to put 20% down and want to do that. This gives you the breakdown of how much you would be saving, and this can go all the way to the loan maturity. So if you keep that loan for 30 years, it lets you know how much you save over the life of that loan. One last thing I'll mention about the loan cost breakdown here is notice the mortgage insurance here after those 10 years, how much you would have paid in mortgage insurance for the conventional 5%, and also how much you would have paid for the FHA mortgage insurance plus the finance mortgage insurance, which is 1.725% of the loan amount. So that's another fee. So essentially these are 2 additional expenses that you would have because you didn't put 20% down. Lastly, if you don't have 20% down to put down, don't worry about it. Just stick with what you are able to do. Just recognize that this is what it's going to cost you. That way you're not surprised later. Monthly mortgage payments. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about year 1 monthly mortgage payment and what that would look like for you. With the conventional 20% down, you're paying just over $4,000. With an FHA, you're paying $48.58, and then with a conventional 5%, you're paying $48.45, factoring in the principal, interest, tax, homeowners insurance, mortgage insurance. There's no HOA to speak of, and you're not doing an extra payment. One thing to note is that across all three loans, there's one similarity, that you're paying a ton more in interest than you are into the principal at the beginning of the loan. So remember, this is year one. So you're paying a ton more in interest than the principal. And that's going to be the case. You're going to be paying more towards interest than the principal for about the first 20 years. You're going to be doing that. You're going to be paying more in interest than the principal. After 20 years, or technically year 19 and a half or so, that's when the inflection point happens. Then after like those remaining 10 years, you're paying more in principal than you are in interest. And if you want to see that exact breakdown, just go down to the tool here and go to the amortization table, and this gives you the breakdown. So this column right here is the principal. You see that number going larger as we scroll down. And then around the 19-year mark, you're going to see that this number eventually this number goes higher than this number. So this is the first month. So this is year 19 or so. This is the first month that the principal exceeds the interest that you're paying. So that's the easiest way to go and find that information, through the amortization table. So you don't have to make that calculation by hand. All right, so let's keep it moving and grooving, because I got to talk about the mortgage insurance. So again, this is year one. And year 5, you get to see the difference of the green is the equity that you're owning. So basically how much of the home you own. You start scrolling through here, you see after all these years how much you're paying. How much of the home you own. Now, one illustration that's going to really highlight how much you're going toward, how much is being paid towards interest versus paid towards principal, is this right here. So after year 21, you're thinking, well, I only have 9 more years to go. I should at least own 60% of my home, bare minimum, because I've already had 21 years of payments. Well, you would be wrong, because check this out. You're going to see that even after those years, even after 21 years of consistent payment with your conventional 5%, you barely own own over 50% of your home. Same thing with the FHA. The conventional, you are getting to that 20%, but you put 20% down. You are getting to that 60% ownership, but you put 20% down. So you gave yourself a big head start. This is the power, or really more illustrating the difference of paying towards interest for paying towards principal. Now, don't mishear me. There's really nothing that you can do outside of paying more towards principal and additional payment as much as possible at the beginning through your loan. But that just kind of illustrates how much of a difference goes into paying towards interest first than to paying more into the principal, given that kind of these 21 years, you would think that you would own a lot more of the home than 50% of it, which you don't. Loan details. The only thing I want to share about this is how long it would take for your mortgage insurance to fall off. So remember, with conventional 5%, you would eventually get rid of that mortgage insurance. After 10 years or so, you get rid of it on paper. This is just on paper. This is not factoring in the appreciation of your home. So as your home appreciates, then your mortgage insurance falls away. So it wouldn't be unreasonable to believe that your mortgage insurance would fall away in 7, 8, 9, 10 years, or 8 years, depending on how fast mortgage insurance, depending on how fast your home appreciates. All right, so as you're coming in, a like is going to go a long way. It's going to help really magnify the reach, and really appreciate everybody hopping on today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to drop them in the chat. We're talking everything Irving today, and we've gone through all the simulations that we needed to. We have one more to get through to really illustrate the difference between the owning a home versus renting. So one of the things that we talk about a lot, especially in our discovery calls with our clients, is our exit strategy. And our exit strategy means essentially means, what do we plan to do after we own this home. We're like, what are our plans for this real estate? So in this particular case, we're going to say that our plans for this piece of real estate is we're going to own it for 10 years, then we're going to try to sell it. We can provide an analysis on that. So let's say after 10 years, we want to sell it. And we're going to pretend, or we're going to reasonably estimate that our appreciation is going to go up 3% every year. And then we're also going to reasonably estimate that our cost to sell is going to be 6% in 10 years. So essentially that's going to factor in real estate agent cost, title work, and whatever we need to do to sell that house. You can even overestimate it if you so choose. So let's just say 7% it's going to cost you to sell that house. Tax increase per year. We're going to say that property taxes are going to continue to rise, which they will continue to rise, especially as your home appreciates more and more. So we're going to say that taxes are going to increase per year by 3%, which is very reasonable. Insurance, we're going to also say that that's going to increase because it really has been increasing quite a bit when it looks when you're talking about home insurance quotes. So we're going to say that that also rises by 3%. So we have our scenario after 10 years. What does that mean for us financially? Well, this is our actual benefit versus cost of buying. So here, it's going to cost us about $396,000 to live in these 10 years that we just simulated with a conventional 5%. With an FHA loan, it would have cost us $405,000 to live in this house. And with our conventional, it would have cost $319,000. So we factored in the appreciation, so how much this home went up in value. We factored in the cost to sell this house. We factored in the cost of our loans, respectively. And then we also factored in the property taxes that we paid along the way, along with our homeowner's insurance. And that's where we got how much it actually cost us to live in this home for 10 years. For comparison, a rental payment of $3,000, which would be roughly on par with what you would be paying for a home of this size in this area and just of this value. If you were to do that same, or if you were to compare it against the rental, you paying rent per month with an annual increase of 3% per year, your home cost, your cost of living, basically your cost to live in a property, your housing need would have been $424,000. So here you see the difference between home ownership versus renting. So run your specific situation run your exit strategy through this calculator. This is linked down below. This is here for you so you can get your own exit strategy. So this is just an example of what it can look like, and you can really extend it as much as you want. So if you wanted to mature it all the way to the end, meaning you want to pay it off and be good with it, well, in 30 years, your housing expense would have been for $809, cost would have been $850. Your conventional would have been this, and then your cost to rent would have been astronomical. So again, just run these numbers on your own so you can see what it looks like for your specific situation. So we've talked about where Irving is on the map. We've talked about the commute, the community, the cost of living in Irving, and we went through a breakdown of a home, looking through the pictures as if we were viewing it for the first time, which we were. We went through the details of the home itself, so we really understood the property taxes, the HOAs, which in this particular case there wasn't. And then we gave 3 different scenarios that we could use to finance this purchase, and we went into all that information. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to drop them in the chat. If there's a city that you want us to cover next, also let us know down in the comment section down below. If there's anything that we can do for you, if you're looking to buy, if you're looking to sell, please feel free to reach out to us. Our contact information is down below. Outside of that, see you on the next one. Bye.